On FS1, I got to tell you, everybody complains about NBA parity. I got Milwaukee, Toronto, and Portland are three of the last four teams. I think it's been, I was telling Joy this the other day, I think it's been as good a second round playoffs and on as I ever remember. So let me just throw this out. Dallas Mavericks 2011, Toronto Raptors. A lot of similarities, Chris.
Are you predicting the Raptors win this?
I'm saying
national radio. You're saying this national
I
TV?
am saying 1 star, good coach, massive dogs, length, veterans, and by the way, that Heat team had a little drama. This Warrior team got a little drama.
Well, look, obviously, like you said, there are some similarities. Nick Nurse has done a terrific job. He's not where Rick Carlisle was at that point. Rick Carlisle had been in Indiana. They had some great teams.
Fair.
Detroit. And so there's a difference there. The veterans in Dallas had a little more championship pedigree.
Jason Kidd.
Jason Terry. Jason Terry hadn't won, but Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler. A little bit different, but there's some similarities. To me, where the big difference is comparing that Miami team to this Warriors team. That Miami team, as a group, had never won anything together. Their chemistry wasn't great. They liked each other, obviously, but as far as figuring out how we're going to work the LeBron-Wade dynamic, they really hadn't figured that out yet. It was more kind of taking turns. They did that their second year, figured it out. Whereas obviously Golden State has the tremendous chemistry and the experience of winning championships. And let's face this too. That Miami team, if LeBron hadn't frozen up those last 3 games or whatever it was, they're going to win that series. They were up 2-1.
But
they should have won that series.
Kevin Durant's calf froze up. Listen.
So I got the Warriors in 6.
Okay. Do you think Kevin Durant plays?
No.
You don't think he plays?
I don't think he plays. I don't think he plays.
Why?
One, I think the injury is more serious than people are letting on. I mean, we've said that every week or so as the Warriors have released new, diagnoses of the injury. I've heard some things. I'm not going to say, a great source told me he's out. But I've heard some things talking to people around the league. But I don't think he comes back. I'm not reporting it that he's not coming back. But if you ask me my opinion based on conversations and things, I don't think he plays again, but I still think the Warriors win in 6. So that means I think KD's played his last game as a Warrior.
Oh my Lord! What a weird, awful ending. That's
well,
awful.
He's gonna get a 3rd ring, and it will be a ring. He's earned that ring. He was a big part of his team.
I don't have a
problem. So that'll be 3 rings. So
they had a lead in that series against Houston when he got hurt, right?
Well, it was 2-2.
Oh, they
2-2.
didn't. What a terrible ending to this career.
No, he's going to go elsewhere, and maybe he'll win some rings. Here's the thing. If they win it without KD, he has to leave. There's never been a player in the NBA that won championships as good as KD that was in a situation where the feeling was, or if they win it, the reality is they don't need you. The players of his ilk, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, LeBron, can you imagine any of their teams winning a championship without them? And this is what people are challenging KD on, and some criticizing him on, is look, you're too good to not be needed. Go somewhere where you're needed and you win a championship, your already great legacy lifts you higher. Like if you want to be in that top 5 conversation, I think he wants to even be higher in the conversation. You have to go somewhere where they need you. Win.
I was saying professional mobility. You've moved around the country, Akron Bee, New York Times, the other place here, and I've done the same thing. You and I have, that's fine. And Joy has done the exact same thing. Joy has bounced around the country, local, national, and I was saying, and we're not saying we're Kevin Durant, but
we won rings in other places.
Professional mobility, the good thing is you don't have to deal with a lot of struggle sometimes. You can join a really good company that's rolling.
Right.
The downside is you always feel a little bit like an outsider. Like there's a secret handshake for the guys that have been in the company 40 years. And with Kevin Durant the other day, he talked about that. It's their team. It's my team. And part of me, again, I'm not analogous to KD, but I'm saying, I get it. He's saying, like, I get it. The people out here don't think I'm part of the team. I mean, Draymond and Kevin Durant fought this year, and Draymond yelled at him, "We won without you." Part of me feels bad a little bit for KD. Like, it's like he's got this narrative in America, like, we don't need you. And I'm like, the guy's sensitive to begin with.
Right. Here's how that narrative ends or changes. If they lose, if he doesn't play in this series and they lose, and he stays, and obviously they're going to be great if he stays and they win more championships down the line, maybe they win the next 2 years, that narrative changes. Actually, it changes. Once they lose without him, it changes.
They need him.
And then if the only reason he's thinking about leaving is validation, like, get this mental asterisk off my name that all these superstars are saying is there. And, I got to show people that, I can win it with my own team. If that's the only reason he's leaving, if they lose, stay. Help them open up the new arena, win another championship. Maybe you stay and you win 5 or 6 titles. Who knows? But that's what's on the line, in my view.
Oh, I agree.
With these finals.
It's fascinating how everything has changed. We're all trying to guess where guys go, right? And whereas we had a sense LeBron and the Lakers always felt like it was going to happen, just think about Kevin Durant. We're absolutely sure he's going to go, right? That's all the reports.
That's the feeling, yep.
Then he gets hurt. That's a shocker. Then they win without him. That's a shocker. Now, it's almost like if they lost without him and he stayed, that would be the third shocker. Things happen in threes. Because
that would be a shocker.
I find myself, I do think he's the best basketball player in the world. Kawhi's a better defensive player, but I think offense is more important in the NBA.
KD's better offensively, no doubt.
Let me go to this. In fact, I'm going to take a break. I got 2 things to ask you. I got 3 things to ask you about. Did Giannis gag? Because I'm going to defend Giannis today on a couple of things. Chris Broussard around the corner. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you so much for stopping by. Back in a second. It's The Herd. Let's start with Giannis.
You as well to the family. Happy Memorial Day.
Everybody out there. So Giannis, it's beat up on Giannis Day. Yes, I do think centers in this new spacing game we have can be a little easier to marginalize than a ball handler. Giannis can't dribble out of trouble like Kawhi.
He's really both. He's a point center. That's what he is.
What do you make of the loss? Because it's going to be very easy, because he did shrink in this series. Right. It's easy to clobber Giannis.
A necessary evil. I am not looking at this as, oh, wow, Giannis isn't what I thought he was. I voted for him for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be the MVP. I'm looking at this as a necessary evil. He had to go through this. If they had gotten to the finals and won it, it would have been virtually unprecedented. He would have had no adversity. The only players to win championships, superstars who led teams to championships without going through adversity first.
Magic.
Bill Russell, Magic, because he went to play with Kareem right away. Bird, he had Tiny Archibald, Cedric Maxwell, some Robert Parrish, some veterans with him in Boston. Dwayne Wade, he had Shaq. Like, Kobe and Shaq went through adversity together. LeBron went through individual adversity. Dr. J went through adversity. Kevin Durant went through adversity. This is par for the course for great players. Dirk Nowitzki had to go through. Michael Jordan, right, the greatest of all time. I forgot him. So it reminded me of LeBron in 2007 when they played San Antonio. He was, I think, 22 years old, and the Spurs forced him to shoot jumpers. It exposed his lack of confidence in his jump shot. And this is what has happened to Giannis. He was exposed, no mid-range game. We know he doesn't shoot the 3. He's got to get a mid-range.
Yeah.
If he could have pulled up from 15 feet, 12 feet even, it would have been an entirely different series. But this is something he had to learn. And mentally, he kind of broke down because he's a 74% career foul shooter. He shot 43%, I believe, or 47% from the foul line in the last 4 games. In the fourth quarters and overtime, it was under 40%.
Yeah.
That's mental because you're a good free throw shooter.
Yeah.
So that's all a part of the growing pains. He'll grow. He's obviously a hard worker. He'll learn from it. He'll grow, and he'll come back better.
I said to start my show today, my opening rant here on Memorial Day was stop with there's no parity in the NBA. since 1949, 70 years, 33 of the titles are Celtics or Lakers. Because you have only 5 starters, one or two can have massive impact for a decade.
Right.
Even in college basketball, where now stars leave after 45 minutes on campus, it's the same 6 programs every year that end up around in the Elite 8. So I thought
here's another point for you on that to support you. The 70s had the most parity ever. You had 8 teams win championships.
And the league was dead.
It was the worst decade of pro basketball.
People thought, first of all, you had 6 or 7 franchises that were in financial peril.
Yep.
And by the way, I should be happy because the Blazers won then and the Sonics won then. So as a kid growing up,
that's right, your teams.
All my teams in the Northwest won. I got my Jack Sickman, Freddie Brown Sonics, Gus Williams, and I got my Bill Walton, Dave
Lionel Hollins, Mo Lucas.
So that's why I love the NBA. In the 70s when I was a kid, Portland, Seattle won, so I love the NBA. But that
games were on tape delay. And in the 80s, which people think is the decade that saved the league, 5 teams, not won it, 5 teams got to the finals. Got there. Lakers, Celtics, Rockets, Sixers, Pistons.
That's it.
That's it. And Houston never even won it that decade.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, much like soccer internationally and basketball here in the country, it's a business built around stars. And I'm totally comfortable with that. Listen, Ronaldo and Messi give you a number.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line is it's a different culture. Golf tends to be quiet, please. NASCAR tends to be Southern. Soccer tends to be international. And an NBA tends to be kind of a hip-hop, fun, youthful, star-driven sport. And I'm totally okay. The reality is we all loved the Michael Jordan and the Magic dynasties. Everybody's all caught up that they hate this dynasty because of the way Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. But excuse me, Kareem started in Milwaukee and said, "Get me out of here."
People forget he demanded a trade.
He did.
There's no doubt about it. And look, we may get, I think, the best of both worlds, where if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving go to the Knicks, if Kawhi, whether he stays in Toronto or goes to the Clippers, if the Lakers get somebody, whether it's a Jimmy Butler or an Anthony Davis, you'll have Philly, Milwaukee, New York, maybe Toronto. You'll have Golden State, Houston, the Clippers maybe, the Lakers, if you want to throw in Denver, like the parity at the top. When you have about 7 teams that can legitimately say they can win it, that'll be great.
You didn't mention Portland gets Nurkic back. You didn't mention Indiana that gets Victor Oladipo back.
Portland feels like, because they went on a rash. They're going to, Damian Lillard's going to get the huge extension. They extended the GM Neil O'Shea and the coach Terry Stotts. They feel like, look, that series was a lot closer than people think. We were up, they had the big leads. We don't have our center.
Closest sweep ever.
Right. They feel like they're there. Now, I don't think it was that close. I think Golden State paced itself.
Right.
And knowing a couple big surges will get rid of these dudes. But that's how they feel. And that's why they're bringing everybody back. And you're right. Nurkic is one of the top centers. I mean,
of course he is.
Top 6 centers, 7 centers, whatever. So they'll be all right.
God, Chris. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.